Council of Oddly Endearing, and today I'm here with Vita of Vita's Vintage. Hi, Vita.
Hi.
How's it going? You said you're in New York?
I am. Yeah, I'm on Long Island. So I've been here most of my life. I used to live out east where it's nice, like, above the Hamptons and beachy and everything. Now I'm kind of in the middle of a very densely populated area, but it still works. Still
That's
works.
so cool. And
Yeah.
you find a lot of awesome vintage stuff up there. So.
I do. There's so many people here, and it was settled like there are a lot of old families. So there's people in their 90s still living in homes around here. So that's why I like where I am because I
Yeah.
get some good stuff.
Awesome. The stuff is there if you want it. I so
Yeah.
often hear people from up north saying, oh, there's not enough here, because compared to the people trying to find it, but you know where to look.
Yeah, and it's just different up here. Like it's more expensive, and people they put vintage before everything, thinking they're going to get a couple more dollars, at a yard sale or something. So you have to do your due diligence and you have to put in your time. But it's here. It definitely is here. So.
So, all right. So, just talking about your business, do you consider yourself a hobby seller, part-time seller, full-time seller?
So I would say it started as being a hobby seller. I love vintage. I love everything about it. And I've always collected it for myself. Like most of my home is just thrown together with different pieces that I've liked. And over the years, people have come over and been like, you can sell that. This is great. You should sell people's houses, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, it wasn't something I was looking to do, but I picked it up. So it started as a hobby, but now it's a decent amount of my income. So it's definitely part time. And eventually, if I could build up my business even more, I'd love to be a full time seller.
So, what do you do outside of it?
So I kind of like to say that I can do anything. I have like 6 different jobs. And when somebody has something to do, they call me and say, hey, can you do this? So I guess it started, I was in marketing and promotional marketing for 12 years. So I sat in an office at a desk. I worked for a job that they appreciated my work, but not me, like my time as a person. So, like, the better I did, the more work I got. So I noticed my hours were 9 to 5. I was paid in a 9 to 5 bracket, and I was there from 7 in the morning to 7 o'clock at night. And I was getting stressed out for doing so much work for other people, but I was good at it. And finally, I was like, you know what? This is not my calling. Like I did 12 years. I put in a lot, and I still work for them. I still do part-time sales outside. So I still sell, t-shirts to the firehouses that like my husband and his friends work at. Like I still do stuff like that, but I had to step away from the office. So I make my money babysitting. I have 2 different sets of twins that I take care of. So I play with babies all day and I do this at night. And so I'm a part-time event planner. So I do some weddings. Um, basically anything that people need. I've done house clean outs. I work with an antique shop that's local in town, and he hires me when he needs to go in and do some house cleaning. So, I get like first dibs on some good finds when I like, clean out houses. So I'm okay with that too. So yeah, a little
Yeah,
bit of everything.
I think that's a story for a lot of us sellers, especially Instagram sellers, is kind of our jacks of all trades, still kind of doing stuff here and there,
Right.
but making it work.
Because there's no hours, like, it's not like, okay, my Instagram shop is open from 9 to 5. My Instagram shop is open until 1 o'clock in the morning, so it's whenever I could get stuff up and whenever I can reply back. So
Yeah, yeah, that's how I feel about it too.
yeah.
So this next question I pose because I'm friends with you on Facebook, and I see you were quite the wild child. I just wanted to know what's your wildest vintage related story?
It's so funny. I was thinking about that, and I don't have, like, I have situations where I've gone into really crazy houses and I've met some really crazy people, and like, or some really nice people who have filled my car with stuff, being like, just take it because you'll appreciate it. And I'll go like 3 times and my car will be full and they'll be like, just give me, a coffee. And I'm like, how do you just pay for a coffee? So I've met some really great characters throughout it. And I've definitely, I have stories of crawling through, I'm arachnophobic. I hate spiders. But when it comes to vintage and somebody says you can go up in this attic, I'm like, all right, I put on a hat, I put on gloves. I will wear the craziest outfit too. Like I'll pull my socks up to my knees and I'll have, like things over my face and so nothing can actually touch my skin, but I will crawl through anything to grab like the perfect find. So I have, there's plenty of instances, but like when I think of something that stands out as the best, I don't really know if I have one. I don't know.
That's
I don't know. Like, the life of a seller, it's crazy.
Yeah, I just imagine some Indiana Jones like
Right?
going into the attic for some
Yeah.
vintage treasures.
Yep, I feel like I've done that before. And also, if you follow me on Facebook, then you know I have a very crazy unicorn mask. So wouldn't it be crazy to say that I crawled through a crawl space in my unicorn head? Because that's happened too. But, anything to keep people laughing.
Right? And stay safe.
Yeah.
All right. So, when did you fall in love with the vintage life?
So I think I've always had an affinity towards it. Like I grew up with my aunts. My aunts were I guess they were about 12 years, 15 years older than my mother. So same family, everything. Just by the time they had all 6 kids, they were about 12 years apart. So my aunts were like grandparents to me, basically, because my grandparents died when well, one I never met, and one was when I was young. Um, so I always looked at them like grandparents. So like they would have me over and we would do the same thing like I would do with a grandmother. And they would take me up and be like, okay, this is the jewelry that went through our family. This is the oldest brooch that we have that our great great grandmother brought here from Naples. And they would teach me all about what they had in their house and where it came from. So a couple of years ago, we ended up losing both of them, and we had this house that was on our family for 60 years. So it's a two-family house in Queens, New York. That's where they settled, when they came off the boat from Italy. And it was 4 floors. It was a full attic, a full basement, and it was years of all these different people's things. And as one person died, it got absorbed into the house, and their stuff got absorbed into the house and over and over. And my one aunt lived to be 101, so we had all of her stuff when she had her apartment. So slowly, I think just when we went through the house and I helped with the estate, I was like, okay, I'm just going to pack this up, take it home, go through it. Pack this up, take it home. And then you look through my house now and you're like, this is theirs, this is theirs, this is theirs. But there's a new generation and a new love for it. So I think, when it tied, because I'm big in my family history too. And I think when vintage ties into my family history and heirlooms and, our story, generational, ancestral, all of that, I think that's basically where it came. And all of my kitchen is from my mother's first apartment, and it's all Corningware and stuff from when she got her first apartment in the 70s, married, first apartment. And so I have all her kitchen stuff, and I have her crystal, and I have her china, and that's what I use when friends come over. Like I'm not scared to use anything, but I value it. So
That's so wonderful. I'm that same person in my family
yeah.
that like someone, my great great grandmother passes away and literally nobody wants anything, but I'm like, but wait,
I'll take it all.
let me.
Fill
So
up my car.
the same way. My house is full of like just stuff from this grandparent and this aunt and this uncle. Like I couldn't part with any of it. It's
But
missing.
you can appreciate it more too, right?
Yeah. And I use it.
Right. And if I go into somebody else's home and they're like, this is my grandmother's, I always say, okay, what was your grandmother's name? And I go, when I put it out, I'm going to think of her and I'm going to say a little prayer for her. And I'm going to so for Christmas, I had this one family that gave me a lot of Christmas decorations of their grandmother that passed within the year. And every time I put it out, I always say, thank you, Jenny. This is beautiful. And I appreciate using it here, So like I try to remember the people who it came from because I think that's important,
It's so important. I love when estate sales are run by the families, and
Me too.
I love getting there just talking to them. Like
I
I
know.
know who these people were, where the stuff came from, what they
Right.
liked, and it adds so much more to it. And especially when we're selling it on Instagram, just being
Right.
able to say where
Have a story.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I also like when I go into homes, I'm very respectful when I'm in there because I know even when it's like a company run estate sale, I know that the family is usually there as well because I've worked through estate sales as well. So I try to be very like I always am, like even if there's something that's totally crazy in the corner, I won't say like, ew, what is that? Or if a house is crazy and hoarded and everything, I don't go, oh, it smells in here. Like I try to have respect every time I step into somebody's home. And I think it's just important. I think they say, there's a saying, and I can't remember it exactly, but they basically say the last time you say somebody's name out loud, that's when the person really dies.
Mhm.
So when I'm bringing their stuff into my home, I feel like I'm helping them continue on, if that makes any
Okay.
sense.
Yeah.
So,
No, I love it. I love it. And that's a great point. I really estate sales here, I don't know about there, but here can just become madhouses of people just grabbing and like yeah, I just and the stuff you hear people say and the way they treat the stuff, because sometimes you come in, an estate sale can be Thursday through Sunday a lot of times here. And by Sunday, you go into the house and everything is broken
right.
or like it used to be in the original box, but now the box isn't over here and that's over there, and it's like
Yeah.
people come in and trashed it. It feels
Yeah.
like.
If you don't get there the first day, and stand in line, like here, okay, we have to be there. Some people line up 3 or 4 hours before it starts, and they're online. Some of them get numbers for their friends. So, like, I could be the first person there, but there's already 8 numbers taken, and then their friends come and whatever. And people are so nasty. So, I try to just focus on one or two things. I go straight for it, I grab it. But we don't know any prices when we get in there, like until you get to the table at the end for whatever you buy. So, like, somebody's running to grab something and they could grab it and not pay for it. And then you think it's gone and that's what you went for and it was there the whole time. It's very, I've stepped back because I feel like the people and even the companies are not fair in what they're doing right now. Like, the companies don't try to control it. Like, they could let a couple in at a time and they can be fair about what you take and whatever, but they see people, like, I've seen them give different prices to different people, and that drives me crazy. But I've spoken with some resellers. I go to a couple local stores and we all see each other there a lot, and I'm very courteous to all of my resellers, and I have a good rapport with a lot of them. And even if we buy the same stuff, I feel like I'm always respectful of everybody. I don't try to grab it fast before them. I don't cut them off in line like to get to a cart or something. I try to be good. And so I've built a nice little network, and we were talking the other day and we're all like, this might not be for us anymore. Maybe if we all step back and the estate sales feel what it's like to not have us and to not take us, like one of them, he's so greedy. If he knows you're a reseller, he marks it all up. And we're like, that's not cool. Like, that's not what you're supposed to get money for the family, a decent amount. You're supposed to clean out this house. If you charge me triple what you would charge anybody else because I'm going to sell it, there's no markup for me anyway.
Yeah.
So, and you don't know what I'm keeping versus what I'm reselling because I'm a collector. I keep stuff, So it's been tough around here. Like, a lot of us are kind of frustrated. So,
I understand that. When I go out, I won't use the word reseller. I
yeah,
won't
me
tell people
neither.
reseller. If people ask, I say I'm collection curator because I feel like that leaves
Yeah.
honest, but
Yeah.
it's self interpretation.
Right. I feel a lot of them do their job and they check online. So, and when I ask for a receipt, I feel like that puts a flag up too. And I'm like, it's my cash. I just want to track my cash. But I feel like a lot of them still know. I don't know.
Absolutely.
I try to be discreet too.
It shouldn't be a problem. Like they should.
Right. It shouldn't. If you're a reseller, they should give you a better deal because you'll buy more.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, exactly. There's a similar company, estate sale company here in Atlanta that I will not go to any of his estate sales because he doesn't price anything, and then when you go up there, he just like makes up prices of what. One time, my partner tried to buy it. It was a burned CD of Pearl Jam live concert, so already it's not legal to sell.
Right.
But he pulled it up and was like, he found it in the basement. And he was like, "Oh, hey man, can I give you $1 for this?" And the guy was like, $10. It's like, what?
You can buy CDs now for like more than 25. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then another time we went to one of his, and there was this, it was a stuffed white fox. It was a taxidermy white fox. Beautiful, but it was just disgusting. Nobody had taken care of it. It was gross. It needed a lot of cleaning. And apparently they thought it was like a plush. They thought it was a stuffed animal, the toy. So they put a $5 sticker on it. And I was like, oh, well, yeah, I'll take a gamble on it for $5.
Yeah.
And so I take it up. There's nobody else in the house. Like, this is a dead sale. And so I take it up to the cash register, and the lady starts looking at it, and she was like, oh, $5. That's a lot for a stuffed animal. And I was like, oh, no, but it's a real one. And she's like, what? It's real. And she went and grabbed the guy, and the guy came back and was like, $200. And I was like, are you kidding me?